Well, hello everybody. This is the look of contrition. I just wanted to tell you, I am so sorry that I subjected all of you. You notice I didn't even play the trailer to this movie, because if for anybody that did their homework and had to sit through this turd of a movie, I apologize. Uh, if this is what you saw and you said, "Hey, I've never checked out um, any H.P. Lovecraft," well, I can tell you this movie's not going to send you running to the bookstores. Wow. I think that Dean Stockwell should give his money back because his performance was so low energy that he put you to sleep. There's no drama in this thing. There's only one cool scene in this movie, and that was when Sandra Dee's girlfriend is going to look on her, and she opens up the door and meets the creature, and they kind of did this like negative, like quick flash stuff. And you got the impression of like this big head with the snake tentacles and stuff like that. It's very kind of subdued, I guess. You don't really know what you're seeing, but I thought that was kind of neat. But all in all, I mean, my God, this was a slog. I mean, I had to fast forward through parts, looking for some action, looking for some interest. The Stockwell just takes this thing right down into the ground. It's like he didn't even want to be there. This is a really bad one. So there's not much more you can say about this thing other than avoid it like the Necronomicon. Just don't watch it. Just like treat it like the Necronomicon. You shouldn't read it. You shouldn't watch this. It's very boring. Very, very boring. There is absolutely nothing positive to say about this movie. Sandra Dee is boring again. Even her the sequences where she's on the offering table, if you will. She's wearing pantyhose, or the body double's wearing pantyhose. She has very little emotion. There's no motivation to her. We don't know why she finds this guy attractive. His eyes, really? He looks like a nutcase. Certainly, he doesn't have like, I don't know, ladies, pick your favorite pair of good-looking eyes. Tom Selleck or somebody. I don't know. So it was like that was a piece of dialogue in the script that didn't translate into whoever they hired afterwards. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of some other things to make fun of. The angry townspeople. They have poor Ed Bagley in here, and they advertise him as Academy Award winning. And yes, wonderful actor, but he was in this turd. And also, what's his name? Guy who played Gunga Din is in this, plays the grandfather. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but somebody in the chat will remember him. Terrible, just awful. So I am so sorry that I did this to you. I had to do a palate cleanse on this movie. Yesterday, it's like really rainy and cold here in the Northeast, so, I watched a few of the movies that are coming up that I hadn't seen yet, like, um, a Creep Show. We watched Creep Show yesterday. We watched, Queen of Outer Space. Um, watched this one, of course. Sam Jaffe, thank you, Man of War. Yeah, Sam Jaffe. Sam Jaffe is a great actor in uh, The Day the Earth Stood Still. He was in the great Gunga Din. He was an agent before he became an actor and represented a lot of big Hollywood stars and stuff. Really, just class act guy. Really good. And wee, I bet he's wondering why he did this one. Um, Bloody Drake says the 1945 suspense radio drama of the Dunwich Horror was much better. I'll bet it was more like H.P. Lovecraft's book too. So yeah, this was really bad. Let me say hey to everybody in the chat. I started to say I had to do a palate cleanse. That's where I was going. So so we ended up watching one of my favorites, The Curse of the Demon with Dana Andrews, the Jacques Tourneur film. So that helped cleanse the palate because that's a good one. That's a really good one. I just love that the demon is so iconic. Dragon Dancer. Did you look up the demon? That image that we were talking about today. So let's see who's in the chat, shall we? Okay, good. Cigar Gangster is here. Anthony Mark, Creative Faye, Dan Genovese, Dr. Mask is here. Who says that he didn't get to do his homework? I do want to watch this one. I hear it's flawed, but good. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's an hour and 29 minutes you'll never get back. And it's the longest hour and 29 minutes you'll ever spend. Really. I mean, I thought Wolfen, yeah, was boring. Forget about it. Wolfen was Citizen Kane compared to this thing. Dragon Dancer is here. Rob Fellows, leg kick one Bloody Drake. JP Roca. James Hunsinger, Huron the Steadfast. Bloody Drake loves my intro. That's cool. Thank you. Tom Tuttle's Traveling Salvation Show. James Hunsinger decided to watch The Mummy instead. Well, you can't go wrong with that, with either one, either the Boris Karloff one or the one from the 90s. I like them both. Different movies, different kinds of movies. Rick 1662 said he saw the trailer and decided to give it a hard pass. Yeah, when I looked up the trailer, excuse me, today and started watching it, I'm like, oh my God. Typically the trailer makes you want to go see the movie, even when it's a boring movie. Like there was one we watched the other day where I was like, oh, that trailer sounds really cool, but the movie was, meh. Even this trailer is boring. Like they had nothing to do, nothing that they could show or do. Rob Fellows says he read lots of Lovecraft over the summer, and this in no way does the story justice. Lame. Yes, indeed. Man of War 665 says, hail amigos. Dr. Mask watched The Long Hair of Death from 1964. I hadn't heard of that one. Dennis Shoemate is here. Spaceman. Here in the Steadfast is wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving from Canada. That's right. It's a Canadian Thanksgiving. Marcus Kelligrew is here. He says, hi all, I'm back. I had a wedding and family stuff this weekend. Good to have you back, sir. Rob Fellows wonders if this is trying to get back some Rosemary's Baby money. Yeah, without a good script. Marcus also reminds us to sign up for Escape from Monster Island. Today's your last day, folks, to get signed up for that. I just sent an email out about that. We are going live tomorrow at 2 p.m. After this show. I'll grab some lunch and then we'll come back at 2 o'clock and we'll do a big launch party for Escape from Monster Island. Hopefully, it'll be very successful. We'll have a good crowd and we'll get that one off to a good start. NRG Comics says, hail. Past Master Dan. I'm not sure if I called him out yet. Well, in my description, I called this movie a turd as well. I did not rewatch it, could not get through it back when I tried to watch this turd. Yes, we share the same word for that. Dennis Shoemate says there's a fine line between suspense and dragged out dullness. It's this movie. Mm-hmm. Cigar Gangster wound up watching a live stream while this movie was going on. And guess what? You didn't miss anything. Bloody Drake says a modern movie that's Lovecraftian, but a decent monster movie is Underwater. Okay. Dr. Mass wants to know what I made my intro with. Well, the first part, there's two intros there. The first one was done in iMovie. I did that one, and then the second one, the shorter one, that was done by Nick Roche, who typically does my trailers. Devil's Reign is like Casablanca to this movie. It's so much more interesting. I can watch Devil's Reign. I'll never put this movie on again. But I see what you mean, sort of the devil worshipping vibe, or in this case, it's not. I guess it's not the devil. It's like the ancient ones, the old ones, Yeah, and it's like when they're in that dream state, and she's laying on the slab, and all these like half naked and naked hippies are all touching her, and they got uh, paint all over them and everything like that. I thought I was watching a Woodstock documentary or something. It looked like that. It was like, ooh, is this supposed to be really scary? No, it looked a little trippy, like a bunch of LSD hippies from Woodstock were climbing all over her. Stippling Vaughn says, let's talk about Monster Island and get excited for launch day tomorrow. Absolutely. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. I've been building the launch, trying to keep it simple, and for you, Stippling, hopefully I won't have to throw out my patented phrase tomorrow. So we'll see if that comes out. There's a discussion here about Canadian bacon. Is it just ham or is it something else? Bloody Drake says it's something else. Stippling Vaughn says tomorrow is totally killer. Andy has watched it. Have him on as a guest host for it. Andy likes everything. So there can be no conflict. So that is tomorrow's, huh? Okay. Yeah, I watched that one already. It's pretty good. Why are the movie trailers always the best part of the movie? They're not always, but they're always the best part of a bad movie. If you haven't seen these, I thought they were fun. Saw them when I was a little kid. 1957, The Vampire. In 1956, The Werewolf. The 1962, Manster, Half Man, Half Monster. Yeah, I've seen all of those. Um, the Werewolf has an actor in it who I really like, Don McGowan, I think is his name. Huge guy. He's got to be 6'6" and big. He was a boxer. Um, they usually put him up against guys like Chuck Connors, other big men. And he plays the sheriff in that one. That one was pretty cool. These scientists, turn this guy into a werewolf in part of their experiments. The Vampire from 56, I can't remember the plot of that one because it's been a long time. And The Manster, I haven't seen that one since it was probably on like Thriller Theater at 4 o'clock when I'd come home from school in the 70s. Anthony Mark says, "This is not a good time to admit that I'm a Jets fan. Good luck to Buffalo tonight. May the better team win." Yes, indeed. When I was a kid growing up on Long Island, I was a Jets fan. We had a beach cabana in Lido Beach, and the owner of the Jets had one of these high-end cabanas there, big, much bigger than our little old place. But when we were kids, or before, as the beach season was ending and football was just getting started, he would bring the team out there, and they would all have like a big beach party at the cabana. And when we were kids, we used to sneak into the cabana with our napkins and stuff and get the Jets to sign autographs on the napkins. It was pretty cool. And then when I married my wife and moved to Buffalo, it's a rite of passage. They'll throw you out of town if you don't become a Bills fan. So I eventually became a Bills fan. Yeah, I live by the Canadian border in Buffalo, so I've seen the pea meal bacon. Um, one of our meat places sells it, as a matter of fact. One of the butchers. Doesn't look good to me, personally. Marcus says Joe Frankenstein 3, The Eye of Ra, action adventure, monsters in the ancient pyramids of Egypt. Absolutely. If you haven't seen my post on X today, I shared a post that Anthony Gonzalez Clark had posted, this page that he did, which is super killer. It's a flashback to ancient Egypt, and we're seeing the Eye of Ra, and the guy putting it up on top of the pyramid, and the light hitting it and sending it out this energy to destroy vampires. Looks freaking amazing. Check that out. Oh, you're welcome, Anthony. It's good memory. Long Island. That's right. You gotta hit that G hard. Long Island. Like it's LON big G EYE ILAND. Rick 1662 says the plot of The Vampire is a small town doctor takes the wrong pills given by mistake from his daughter, transforms him into a vampire. Well, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Got those vampire pills. Fastmaster Dan says, forget about it. Yeah, that's sort of a Brooklyn phrase. When we moved to Florida, well, I still say Florida. That's a New York thing. My wife and my children say Florida, like or. I say flour, just like Florida, orange. They say orange. And when I first moved down there, my accent was harder, and I'd call it water. Where's the water fountain? that type of thing. And I get, I got used to get made fun of uh, by the crackers. But the good news was there's a lot of New Yorkers living down there, so I usually found people that I could relate to. Like kids games like Salugi, um, which down there used to call keep away. You'd have a ball, you'd keep it away from somebody, whoever was it. You'd keep the ball away. And in New York, that was called Salugi. Come on, Doctor Mask, you know the answer. It's soda. It's soda. Up here, it's pop. My wife and kids call it pop. Can you get me a can of pop? I'm like, no, I don't know what that is. Soda. Hey, we're all a product of our upbringing, right? Yeah, the other thing is that, where I lived, you just did not put ketchup on a hot dog. If you went to Nathan's in Coney Island and you were putting ketchup on a hot dog, they, you were ostracized. You found yourself in the Atlantic Ocean. Uh, people say, well, why do they put ketchup out there? For your French fries. It's not for your hot dog. Mustard's for your hot dog. Mustard, onions, sauerkraut, relish, all that stuff. Ketchup is for children, and it's for your French fries. I'm gonna catch a lot of shit for that because I know a lot of people, particularly up here, that like ketchup, and I'm married to one on a hot dog. Did you ever see that Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movie? Um, it might have been The Enforcer, where uh, he's walking down to this crime scene with this other detective, and the detective's eating a hot dog, and they're talking about the murder, and he gets to the body, and eventually, Harry makes this like really disgusted face, and uh, yeah, the other cop says, "What's wrong, Harry? This one getting to you?" And he says he says, "No, I can deal with them, the murderers, the rapists, the pinkos, the slashers, blah blah blah." He goes through this whole litany thing. He says, "But you know what I just can't stand? You know what I really can't stand?" And he goes, "What?" He goes, "Anybody that puts ketchup on a hot dog." That was funny. Oh yeah, chili and onions. Yeah, that's good on a hot dog. Marcus says, "Never ketchup." That's right. Anthony Mark says, "I'm getting a great discussion. Also, football and Coney Island. What a great channel." Well, glad to have you, Anthony. Rob says, "So the awesome power of ketchup defeats the ancient evil of the Necronomicon." Yeah, well, you know what? Anything. We could talk about this pencil. You know, I think this would be much more interesting than the movie we just watched. Did you ever see that video of Martin Friedman, um, the great economist, talking about this pencil and how this represents the free market and about everything that goes into making this pencil? It's fascinating. Talking about the lead and the wood that has to be lumbered and cut, and then the metal that's used to crimp this, that has to be mined, and then the eraser, and then there's the manufacturing of putting all this stuff together, and all the hands that it touches just to make this one little pencil, and all the lives it touches. It's fascinating. It's the low bar for 2024, 31 days so far. Quite the honor. Um, yes, considering some of the lower ends that we have hit this season, this one is the lowest of the low. Because usually I'll power through it, no matter how bored I am with it. This one I couldn't power through. I had to watch it on Pluto, so there was these damn commercial breaks that seemed to take a long time too, which did not help the flow of this movie or speed it up. But I did have to fast forward through certain things because there were sequences where he's doing his, like this, whatever that is. I swear he made this shit up, just as they were filming, and yeah, that would go on for like 10 minutes of him, and then the camera moving around, and the low angle shots to add some kind of interest because nothing's happening. Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Well, let's read this. Here's the description off the DVD case. When a small town doctor accidentally swallows experiment. This is for the vampire. Uh, when a small town doctor accidentally swallows experimental bat serum pills, he's soon up to his Hippocratic oath in blood, thirsty desire. Wow, talk about turning shit into shinola, huh? That's a pretty good creative write up, I have to say. Oh, thank you, Dr. Mask. By the way, um, in case you haven't subscribed to my website, email went out today. Actually, went out Friday about the Chinu Plushy Sale. These are 12-inch plushies, super soft, really, really cute. He's holding a heart, because the Chinu eats the hearts. And it comes with a mini print as well. And they're on sale right now until Friday for 30% off. So if you make a great Christmas gift, a Valentine's gift, or just a cool Halloween decoration, which is why we put it up for a Halloween sale. So stop by the website and check that out. There is a sale code. It's Chinu24, capital C. And you can use that at checkout, and it'll knock off 30% for you. So Stealth 5's got his plushie already. Excellent. NRG Comics must have one too. Logic Finest says, Graham, forgive me for asking. Hope your daughter and her family are doing well after what happened. Well, thank you. Yes, they're doing very well. They were, in case you didn't know, back in February, my daughter's apartment building, basically it was really a bunch of condos, burned down right to the ground. She and her husband and everybody got out. The only casualty in the fire was one of the neighbor's dogs, but it was a complete loss. Everything was burned to the ground. But the problem they had in New Hampshire too is where they live is that there's a housing shortage, but they were able to find uh, an Airbnb. They rented that for a month, and then they negotiated with the guy to rent it for the year at a reduced cost. So it worked out for them, and it worked out for the guy who owns it because there's plenty of months where he can't get anything out of it. So now he's got it long-term rental for a year while they continue to look for a more permanent place. But thank you for asking that. Much appreciated. Sibling Vaughn says, our plushy Chinu and homemade gourd Chinu are at the top of my spin rack. Okay, gourd Chinu? That has me interested. You got to post that on X. I got to see that. All righty, gang. I think we made the best together out of this. Um, I do appreciate you putting up with it, but you know what? Them's the risks you take when you make a list up every year and you add new things that you haven't seen, and we end up having to watch them together. So, what did we say tomorrow's was? I know it's that 80s one, or it takes place in the 80s. Uh, somebody throw it in the chat real quick. Past Master Dan says, Happy Conqueror Day. Totally killer. Thank you, Rob. I knew somebody would get it before I could call up my list. Bloody Drake got it. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Totally killer. I can guarantee you this, folks. If you haven't watched it yet, it's much better. It's a modern movie. I think it came out this year. So I think you'll like it. It's a callback to 80s, sort of Back to the Future meets Scream. I guess is the easiest way to elevator pitch it. So it's pretty good. So we'll catch you tomorrow at noon, my friends. And don't forget launch day tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And looking forward to seeing all of you there as well. And until then, you have a great rest of your day. And bye-bye.